Montgomery County has seen a spike in crime and all across, but particularly Silver Spring and Wheaton. What's your plan to help this area become safer and more friendly for pedestrians and anybody who wants to do business here and live here?
So, we've already started working on that. As far as the police force goes, I recognized that we were shrinking the police force over 2 years ago. And I negotiated an increase in their pay, particularly at the early levels, so we could attract more police officers here. The council didn't pass it. Now they're all for it. And we're sending over another contract that they can vote on. But we understood years ago that when you pay slips and you're doing this job and these guys are getting subjected to large amounts of abuse, none of those things are positive for making a decision to go into policing. And we wanted to start addressing that. So that's one thing we're doing. In conjunction with Silver Spring, we renewed and expanded a contract with Pathways to bring additional mental health supports on the ground in Wheaton now. We were adding these emergency response teams, and we didn't add enough. And we realized that in places like Wheaton and Silver Spring, they were going to get totally tied down, either totally tied down with dealing with police and homeless, or they'll be totally tied down by crime, but they weren't going to be able to do both. And so we're increasing the staffing in Wheaton and in Silver Springs. We've got more people on the ground. I just opened the shelter. I don't know if you guys know this, in Neville Street in Rockville, 200-bed shelter. That shelter means that people do not have to sleep outside anymore in Montgomery County. This is a huge change because the homeless folks that we see, they're outdoors 8 months a year. They have no place to go. We didn't have shelter space. The county's official embarrassing policy was you sleep outside 8 months a year. And that comes with a whole host of problems, as we know. Now, 200 men are going to be in a shelter where they have access to mental health services, 3 meals a day, a bed. We're not going to kick them out like we do in the other shelters, with the way we were doing, where we kick them out in the morning and say you can come back in the evening. We're going to let them stay there. We're going to let them watch TV there, work there, have a computer room where they can, work on other things that they're trying to do. So we're going to try to not just move the homeless population, but to move it to a place that we can start helping these people. So many of them are just there because they lost a job and can't make it, and then their lives deteriorate. And so we're going to make sure that they're in a position where we can make them as whole as possible and provide the supports they need. We are redoing the police districts. We're going to add a 7th district, and that'll make the districts smaller. They're way too big. If somebody showed you like the beat in Silver Spring, the beat in Silver Spring covers from downtown Silver Spring at the district line to Burtonsville.
Wow.
Too much.
Wow. Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to 7, and then we're going to rebalance the staffing, so the staffing reflects the call levels in the centers. They hadn't even done that, so they were using the old staffing patterns that had not been properly adjusted for what the calls were, where they were coming from. So you're going to see more police. They will have shorter beats, so it'll not be as challenging for them to get there. So I think between that and the social supports and the shelter, that we're doing things that are going to make a difference and help take some of the load off of what the businesses are dealing with there. And it's not just businesses. In Silver Spring, it's the library. They've had a major negative impact on the library. So we've got to make sure we give people a place to be. And I think, we'll find out pretty quickly if they stay there that, 200 people, if they're there in Neville Street, they're going to have to do some work to wind up someplace else. Hopefully a warm meal and a comfortable place to stay will entice them to stay where they are. Mm-hmm. They no longer have to hunt the streets for a place to sleep that night. Right. So, and if that, we'll do whatever else we need to do to deal with this.